Welcome to 5th Annual Women Who Connect Conference. Today we have an eminent speaker among us to do welcome keynotes for the grand opening. Let me introduce her. Anu is an accomplished technology executive who has more than 25 years of experience building successful and diverse global organizations, delivering industry-leading products. Her experience covers the spectrum of companies ranging from small startups to the likes of VMware and HPE. At VMware, she has a challenging and exciting role leading core engineering teams, partnering across VMware to deliver the next generation cloud foundation platform. Before VMware, Anu was SVP of engineering at Ascent IO, where she led the engineering team building the industry's first multi-cloud intelligent data engineering platform. Anu has also held engineering and product leadership positions at HPE, NetApp, EMC, and several technology startups. Being a leader in technology, industry has taught her to never accept the status quo. This theme manifests as three main principles for her. Always evolve with intent, be your advocate, taking risks. When you're solid on first two principles, it gives you the confidence to challenge the status quo in new ways and take risk without fear. A very warm welcome to Anu Kirpekar. Please open the ceremony with your inspiring keynotes. Over to you,
Thank
Anu.
you. Thank you, Amulya. I hope everybody can hear me. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. Thank you very much for having me here today. I'm really honored to be speaking to this wonderful group. And the theme today is extremely relevant, especially in these challenging times when there is so much uncertainty in the world. So today we will talk about building resilience in your career. The noun resilience, meaning the act of rebounding, was derived from the Latin term resilire, or to recoil or rebound. In material science, resilience is the ability of a material to absorb energy when it is deformed elastically and release that energy upon unloading. So, what does resiliency in your career really mean? Developing career resiliency means anticipating potential challenges and actively preparing for them. By doing so, you can reduce your risk, strengthen your mental fortitude, take charge of your own career path, and position yourself effectively for future opportunities. Each and every one of us has probably had several experiences with challenging times and roadblocks and decisions that we've had to make that have been fairly difficult during our career journeys. But the real question here is, how are we addressing these situations? And are we rebounding from them? Or are we giving up on our career aspirations? So let's go into this a little bit more, right? So how exactly does one build resiliency in their career? Today, I'm going to spend some time going over some key pillars and some attributes that have helped me build resiliency in my career. I have had many experiences, learnings, and realizations as I have navigated through more than 25 years of this journey. And I hope you all can take away some elements from this keynote that you can apply to your own individual journeys. So let's talk about the first pillar. The first pillar here is really about self-awareness. There is power in allowing yourself to be known and heard, in owning your unique story, in using your authentic voice. What a powerful quote from Michelle Obama. I cannot stress enough how important the virtue of self-awareness is. Know thyself and be true to thyself. Authenticity is the key to confidence. Understanding your blind spots, your strengths and weaknesses. Really, rather than calling them weaknesses, I like to call them areas of improvement. Be proactive in collecting 360 feedback from your sphere of stakeholders, including your team members. You will be surprised how sometimes you might think something is a strength when really it is not, or vice versa. So I suggest writing these down. Look at how you might overcome your blind spots. Be your own advocate and focus on your strengths. Someone once told me, it's really your strengths that have brought you this far and not your areas of improvement or your weaknesses. I think we spend too much time focusing on our areas of improvement instead of playing to our strengths. Now, there are some aspects of your job that will come naturally to you and you will be good at that. So take advantage of those aspects. So a little sort of anecdotal story about my journey at NetApp. So when I was hired at NetApp, I had a software engineering lead role. After a couple of years of being in that role, I was offered an opportunity to become a manager, managing the team I was already leading. Now, during that time, I was quite confused about the path I was going to pursue. My mentor recommended I write down the pros and cons of each role and spend time reflecting on them. I recognized that even though I enjoyed wearing the technologist hat, what gave me the most satisfaction was to motivate others to really truly reach their potential. And it was not an easy decision. However, I did take that leap and I did move from an IC to a manager role. So what I'm trying to convey here is me spending some time on understanding my strengths and weaknesses, that self-awareness of where I will thrive, really helped me to make that decision and take that leap to move from IC to manager. The next pillar I want to talk about is continuous evolution. We cannot change what we are not aware of. And once we are aware, we cannot help but change. Sheryl Sandberg said that. Now, as you navigate through your career journey, one thing is a given. The only constant is truly change, right? Change is a constant. And it is critical to really question the status quo and push the boundaries of your comfort zone. When you're doing that, be intentional. Be intentional when you're evolving something and keep the end objective in mind. When I joined Nimble Storage, it was a startup. We were about a total of 80 employees. I was there for over 7 years. During that time, the company grew from 80 people to 1,600 people. And the business grew from 10 million in revenue to 500 million a year. The customers grew from 100 to 20,000. And the company went IPO and was acquired by HPE in 2017. So as you can imagine, there was a need to constantly evolve the process, the organization, the hiring practices, and the product. So what worked for a 100-person company would not work for a 1,600-person company. What worked for a company that had 100 customers does not work for one that has 1,000 or 5,000 or 20,000 customers. The pace of change was really fast. And those who could handle that pace of change really thrived, and others had a very difficult time adjusting. So make this a part of your operating model where continuous evolution and questioning the status quo becomes second nature for you. The next pillar I want to describe here is to be a lifelong learner. Learning is not attained by chance. It must be sought for with ardor and attended with diligence. This quote really resonated with me. Learning at any phase of your career is a practiced habit. It is not natural unless it becomes a part of how you operate and grow, no matter what the role is. The tech industry in particular is changing so fast, you need to be a lifelong learner just to stay relevant. Even if you have strong fundamentals, it is important that those fundamentals can be applied to the current trends and the customer expectations. Create a plan to achieve continuous lifelong learning. Set aspirational goals. Evaluate your skills consistently and upskill as necessary at a regular cadence. An important aspect of learning is to learn from mistakes. Put yourself in your boss's shoes as well. What is top of mind for them? Can you step up and wear that hat when making decisions? So throughout my career, I've had the opportunity to change several jobs. Every time I've changed my job, I've had to learn and retool and reinvent myself. I changed domains multiple times. Started my career as a software engineer in the airline industry. From there, shifted to solutions for the retail business, then telecommunications, enterprise data center products, networking, storage, building a platform for data engineers. And I'm back in the infrastructure as a service space. So you can imagine how many times I've had to learn and retool as I went along my journey. It's been a fun ride, but there's a lot of learning and continuous learning. Another very critical pillar here is around partnership and networking. I love this proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. Someone once said, your network is your net worth. And this is so true. Investing and nurturing your network is so critical. It takes effort and needs to be deliberate. Most of us underestimate what a strong network can do for our career trajectory. It can open doors for newer opportunities. Networking is a two-way process. You get from it what you put into it. So get more involved in communities like Women Who Code network or other technology-related networks, open source communities, other communities in your personal life. Now, keep in touch with your peers from your previous jobs as well as your current job. Partner with your peers, partner with your team, partner with your boss. Expand your circle of professional and personal connections. Seek out to be a mentor and seek out mentors. Okay, and also embrace reverse mentoring. You will be surprised how much you learn about yourself. And so bottom line is, you don't have to scale that mountain by yourself. Leverage your connections. And the final fifth pillar, which is last but not the least, probably the most important, is health and well-being. At the end of the day, don't forget that you're a person. Don't forget you're a mother, and don't forget you're a wife. Don't forget you're a daughter. It is so important to remember this. In today's day and age, we talk a lot about work-life balance, especially during these challenging times of COVID and working from home. We are not doing a great job of creating boundaries for ourselves. I have come to realize that we have to take care of ourselves first, whether at home or at work, if you truly want to reach your full potential. Every single day of our lives, we're faced with work and life decisions. Should I go to my daughter's soccer game or should I dial into this meeting? Should I prepare for a presentation or can it wait till I get back from the gym? The key to a good work-life balance is to create a decision framework for yourself. Do you have life goals just like you have work goals? Then why not treat your life goals as being just as important as your work goals? If you are balanced, then sometimes you will pick that soccer game over that meeting. And at other times, you might pick working on that critical presentation to the CEO over the gym. Personally, for me, I have committed to playing tennis a couple of times a week and making time for yoga on the weekends. This time for me is me time. and it is non-negotiable. Of course, there will always be exceptions, but they are really exceptions. So just to recap here, right? We talked about these 5 pillars to build resilience in a lot of detail. Now, feel free to leverage any of these attributes and cater them to your own career journeys. So what should you be watching out for? Let's take a moment to talk about that. Let's talk about the monsters that are lurking that you need to try and watch out for. The first one here is about procrastination. Why do people procrastinate? Either it's an activity you dislike or is inherently unpleasant. It could be because of fear of criticism or a desire for perfectionism. Could it be lack of focus, or are you feeling overwhelmed and not knowing where to start? We tend to put off things till the last minute, and then sometimes we have to rush to complete a project on time. Like doing your homework at the last minute. And we keep telling our kids this, right? Don't wait till the last minute to do your homework. And when they do that, they're going to make mistakes since you have to rush through it. So to overcome procrastination, I have created a system for myself. It's called the ugly frog system. So every morning when I start my day, I set aside time to kiss the ugly frog. It's a metaphor for tackling the one task that you really would love to delay and not take on. It really has worked. In fact, what I've done is I don't have it with me now, but I typically have this little stuffed toy, like a little frog stuffed toy that you can actually kiss in the morning and start your day. Another aspect of that we should be watching out for here is fear of failure. It is human nature to want to play it safe. Fear of the unknown is natural. Taking a risk is not easy. There will be times in your career where you have to go with your gut. Sometimes it'll pay off, and at other times it won't. But there will always be something you will learn no matter what. In 2019, I was ready to do something different. At the time, I had spent a year and a half at HP after the 7 years at Nimble. Nimble Storage was acquired by HP, and I was at HPE for about a year and a half. I had a choice to make. Should I find a job in another larger company where the risk was much lower? Or should I go try something completely different and work for a startup in a different space? I chose the startup option. Ultimately, the startup did not do great, and I had to look for a change. But I would not trade that experience for anything. I learned so much through that experience that I can truly take that forward with me. And I am applying all that experience in my job today. Another aspect here that we should watch out for is being myopic. We are all guilty of this. It is one of the most common pitfalls encountered. We bury ourselves in the minutiae of tactical activities and don't create space for the strategic focus we need to plan for the future. Try and set aside time for evaluating the 6-month, 12-month, 2-year goals for yourself. How are you doing against those goals? Is it time to reset or readjust? Hold yourself accountable. It's very important. Another aspect here is about working alone. A lot of us have the tendency to say, hey, we'll just get it done. I don't have to deal with working with other people or partnering with other people. I'll just get it done. This is the opposite of partnering and networking. We tend to believe that we can do it all on our own. When you're tempted to work in isolation, just remind yourself of that favorite proverb I talked about earlier. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. The next one is around indecision. Lack of confidence can lead to indecisions, or maybe you don't want to take responsibility for an outcome. You might be a procrastinator, or you have reached analysis paralysis as you keep searching for more and more data. It is prudent to get enough data before making a decision, but remember, there is a big cost to indefinitely delaying a decision. Set yourself some deadline by which a decision needs to be made. And sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and go with your gut. And the last one here is around lack of patience. This one I have personally been very guilty of. It is human nature to expect immediate results when you put your heart and soul into something. Results are not instantaneous, especially when it comes to career growth. Your career journey is often 2 steps forward and 1 step back. As long as you're moving forward, it is progress. I have observed that when I focus on the journey rather than obsessing over the outcome, I oftentimes get rewarded in unexpected ways. And so, on lessons, what are the lessons I have learned from my journey? I'll talk a little bit about that, but at the end of the day, what formula works for me may not exactly work for you. What we discussed today in the keynote are all tools in your toolbox, which you can apply to various situations you encounter in your journey. Okay. So, when I reflect on my personal and professional journey so far, some patterns have clearly emerged consistently. I have always grown when I look at a challenge as an opportunity. When I step out of my comfort zone, I have progressed. I'm thankful for my struggle because without it, I wouldn't have stumbled across my strength. I have always bounced back when I look at failure as a learning opportunity. I try not to dwell too much on the mistakes. Have no fear of perfection. You'll never reach it. I love this. And I have always thrived when I'm true to myself. We do not need magic to transform our world. We really only carry all of that power we need inside ourselves already. And finally, I would like to leave you all with this powerful quote from Frida Kahlo. At the end of the day, we can endure much more than we think we can. We all have the power within us to overcome adversity in our personal and professional worlds. This I truly believe. Thank you.
Thank you, Anu, for energizing morning session. We have a question from audience. We have two questions here. The first one is it that we need to take a people manager role to grow in career ladder? Can we grow in career ladder as an individual contributor itself?
Absolutely. You don't need to become a people manager to grow in your career ladder. In fact, there are parallel ladders in every company where you have IC roles that can go all the way up to the C level, a CTO, right? And you have manager roles that go all the way up to COO. So you have all the growth opportunities you're looking for in either of the branches.
Thank you, Anu. The second question is how do you keep yourself upskilled with emerging technologies?
Yeah, that's a good question. The way my approach has been is there's certain things you can learn on the job, and while your learning is happening through the job, you can branch out and start to sort of look at trends in the industry related to your job, right? And a good way to do it is either through some courses you might want to take, or networking with your peers and really understanding the trends in the industry. And that's why networking is so important. You can also do a lot of reading, right? And then ultimately, to apply that knowledge, you can actually do hands-on practice with some small projects that you can do at home, or even at work. You can come up with ideas and take that to your boss and see if you can do some innovative, bring your innovations to the workplace. So there's many ways you can stay up to speed on the trends.
Thank you, Anu. I could say 8 key takeaway from the session, which I liked most, and they are: understand your own voice, play with your strength, be true to yourself. The second one: change is constant, push the boundaries of comfort zone, be intentional when you do so. The third one: stay relevant with current trends and customer expectations. The fourth one: expand your circle in both professional and personal front. Always have a mentor. Fifth one: create decision framework to work life balance. Sixth one: kiss the ugly frog every morning. Seventh one: set the goal for 2 to 5 years, be responsible towards it. Eighth one: focus on journey rather than results. I hope everyone
Excellent,
enjoyed.
Amulya.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
I hope everyone enjoyed the session. This will surely help us to inspire each other and grow together. Thanks again, Anu.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure. Thank you. Enjoy your day 2 of this amazing event. Bye, everyone.